Everybody, welcome back. Another episode of the Arrow in the Head Show. Lance, John, it's good to see you back in your normal environment.
Yeah, the kitchen.
Back home. Well, nobody knows. It could just be your room.
Now they know. Now they know. It's the kitchen with, stuff I toss in the back just to make it feel animated more than a white wall, But yeah, nice to be back.
You're home.
So,
back in California, right?
Back in California, man, where it's cold as fuck.
It keeps raining. I love it. I
know.
Good
no,
for you
do. You love it, eh? I don't love it, bro.
I rained my whole life. Let's jump into this, buddy, because I don't think you may have anything real fancy today. I think it's gonna be one of those. It's one of those off paycheck weeks. I could tell.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What are you drinking, buddy?
Just vodka and orange juice. That's it. Leftover vodka and orange juice. Yeah.
An old screwdriver. Nice.
Yeah, vodka orange juice. Yeah. What about you?
All right. Well, there's this thing. It's called 99 proof.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've seen that in gas stations and shit.
Yeah, it's like real. It's like it's a little ghetto. It's a little ghetto, but it's like $3-4,
bro. Man.
So I got one of those with the hopes of just like having a good swig. Because I'm the same boat as you. At least you have a mixed drink. But hey, life in the big city.
We need some sponsors, boys and girls, man, so we could be better booze fed, I guess. But all right, man. Well, we do what we can with what we got. So cheers to you, Lancey boy. Cheers to you, cheers, boys and girls. Always great to see you all, even though I don't see you, but you know what I mean.
Hello, my friends! Hey!
Oh, sorry, my eyes are watering. Oh, man.
It's, there you go. It's Monster Bash Day today because we're revisiting Peter Hyams' monster movie, The Relic, which was 1997, starring the great and late, Tom Sizemore. To Tom Sizemore, by the way, I got to do it.
Hold on. The Tom Sizemore.
Yeah. A really fantastic actor who elevates everything he was in, but that got fucked over by himself. He was own worst enemy with his own demons and substance abuse and shit like that. So, which is a shame. I was sad to hear of his passing because he was one hell of an actor, man. He really was.
He was in everything. So this is funny. I always think of him as Scagnetti because for some reason I think that's the movie I was introduced to him. But just for the sake of giving this guy his due, let's say, okay, Bringing Out the Dead, awesome. Relic, Heat, Strange Days, Devil in the Blue Dress, Temporary Killers, Striking Distance, True Romance, Passenger 57,
Lock
Up, Point Break, uncredited. I do remember because he's like, look at my hair.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the cop. Yeah, undercover cop. Yeah.
Blue Steel, and of course, Saving Private Ryan. And that's just I think his peak. And there's probably some bangers in there as well. But the guy had a run better than I even imagined.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just say this in regards to Mr. Sizemore before we dive into the movie. There is one scene in Heat where they're sitting at like in a diner and they're kind of talking, you know what I'm talking about, right?
That's a great scene.
Yeah. And then there's somebody that's kind of listening in, and Timmy Sizemore kind of leans over and gives him like a death stare. And that death stare is a thing of epicness. That alone, says everything, man. The kind of screen presence this guy could have, it was just like powerful, in my opinion. And thankfully he brought that into The Relic.
He's the best part.
Well, he's definitely the most engaging character of the movie.
Okay. Besides Linda Hunt, he's the best part. I'm just going to start off saying this. I remember when this was being filmed. It was filmed at the Field Museum. It was all over the local news because I went to the Field Museum for a lot of field trips. And it was a big deal. And I will say this. I think we'll get into the movie. I think the movie focused on the wrong character. I'm going to start off saying that. I think Penelope Miller is a fine actress. She was fine in Kindergarten Cop with, again, Linda Hunt. But I really do think this movie should have focused on Sizemore as essentially the driving force instead of sort of the balancing cop.
I agree. No, but I totally agree. And it's not like us to start with negatives, but fuck it. You opened up the can. I'm going to jump in. She's the weakest link one of the weakest links of the film, in my opinion, because I just didn't buy her as a scientist. I didn't buy her. She had trouble like wrapping her tongue around all the scientific jargon.
Glycotetraline collagen, Weinstein's thiotropical, oxytocin, monoxytocin, suppressant hormones.
She reminded me a bit of Denise Richards and James Bond.
I was going to say, Denise Richards is the nuclear scientist.
Exactly. You know, not to that ludicrous degree.
Christmas only comes once a year. I get it.
Christmas only comes once a year.
Yeah. Oh, nice. She's way more credible, but still. And she's pretty and the camera likes her, but her performance, I'm not sure if it was the lines she has, the script, or just that she was miscast, but it just didn't fully gel for me. As opposed to Sizemore, who comes in, just owns the fucking scenery. I mean, in a way, it's a bit, their dynamic reminded me a little bit of Mulder and Scully.
I can see that. She's like the straight-laced, tight ass, and he's
he's superstitious, which I thought was a nice little quirk. Hey, don't go over those, don't go over this. It's bad luck. He kept doing that stuff.
He's like heads or tails. Like, don't pick it up.
Is it face up?
Down.
Don't touch it. Face down is bad luck.
Exactly. So he's superstitious. She's a skeptic, more like down to earth, quote unquote. And the dynamic definitely reminded me of Mulder and Scully.
And this shows you that, and I'm going to say this, I do think it's actually all three of those things. I think she's miscast because I've seen her in other things and she's fine. I think it is a script. And I also just think it's the role itself. I don't think this works as the Mulder and Scully. Again, Gillian Anderson, though, has a different charm. There's a confidence in Gillian Anderson as Scully, where here I feel, I keep wanting to call her Penelope Miller. Her name's Margot Green in the movie.
Yeah.
So whatever, I'm probably going to switch between, but she was almost too mousy in a way. It was too, I don't know, it just didn't fit. I got to be honest. I think for a different type of movie, that character would have been fine, but it almost bored me. She was just a tight ass scientist. That's like, man, that's not the movie you want to lead with a cool field museum fucking monster running around eating people's brains. It's just like every time it focused on her, I was like, and then, and they tried to make it a smart movie. And I think I get why, because it's a monster movie. You want to add a little flair to it. But I always felt dragged down. And again, we'll get to the positives. There are a lot of positives, but I do feel this was just a miscalculation. On paper, it probably sounds good. Strong female scientist, knows her shit. She's on thing, but I kept in like, can we just get back to the grumpy cop who doesn't like picking up pennies, separate dead bodies, asking color cats, lost his dog in a divorce, is clearly like smoking cigarettes and probably like, one of those guys that like opens the talent bottle and doesn't like drink it with it. He just goes like, he's that guy. Like, I want to focus on him, man. And sometimes it's her. I was like, I don't know. Again,
I agree.
Trifecta, but I will say, as somebody who loves a good monster movie, it has its moments, man. I think it's a middle ground monster movie, but I'll always like be a little more optimistic towards any monster.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. Every time I see it, I feel the same. The first act takes way too long to set itself up, in my opinion. The elements are incredibly familiar. So we're talking, we mentioned Mulder and Scully, so that's the X-Files. Then Monster on the Loose, claustrophobic, quote unquote, environment that's alien. And then, the guy that wants to open the museum, a big thing, people are getting, it's Jaws. So it's really predictable. It's deja vu. But once the monster action starts to kick in with Stan Winston's really, I thought, novel creation in terms of design and even execution, when you could see it, because the movie had some lighting problems, in my opinion, then it's a blast. It's a blast.
Absolutely. Well, the monster stuff is cool, and the setting is cool. I like the idea of this exotic field museum. Field museum's a cool museum. I was always partial to the Science Industry Museum myself, but whatever. Field's a cool museum. I used to drive past that damn building after work all the time. I'd take Lakeshore Drive, because I remember it always got congested over there. I was always like, fucking Christ, you had to get past that light. We backed up, and I'm still stressed about it. But awesome setting, spacious. This field museum is layered. It has like all the huge basement stuff. So I think in terms of what they wanted, I really liked it. But they focused on the wrong part a lot. So when the monster is there, I 100% agree with you. And it was dark, too dark at times, but we'll get into that as well. But I'm down with this cool little thing, dragging the poor security guy just wants like smoke a joint, probably make a minimum wage. Like, they don't show much, but the aftermath looks awesome. And like they did that the thing is essentially like Alien running around the building. There's a lot of fun to be had. And especially, let's admit, the scene when everybody who should die does, when they're all stuck in the actual like lobby of it, that's what the movie's about. I almost just wish we could trim some, I don't know if it's fat, because I mean, I guess it all leads somewhere. I think it wants to be smarter than it really should be. Like there's too much time in between the monster, but when the monster hits, man, it is a cool little thing. And I like the idea that it goes after the pineal gland because that's like what it needs to survive. And it's not necessarily doing it out of anger. It's just hungry. And that's my favorite kind of monster, eating people. And obviously like it does the old fashioned, like it drops the dead body that's headless onto the swords.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even the SWAT team guy that's climbing up and then and he's in half. So there was definitely some good gore moments, a lot of beheadings, because with its jaw it just snapped some heads. It was gorier than I thought it was going to be, to be honest, that I remembered that it was, to be honest. And I guess the highlight for me would be the tunnel sequence with the SWAT team, where he goes to town, on everything. Like I said, every time I see it, I feel the same, man. I feel the same. I enjoy it. I have an affinity for it because we don't get many monster movies anymore. I mean, what's the last monster movie we saw? Meg, I guess, if you want to count that, and it was crap.
Yeah, no, this is that bridge of that sort of monster on the loose, pretty much practical. It had obviously some CG, but I do believe they balanced it out well. But I almost feel like it's, like you said, it's either going to be Meg, which is going to be 800 million, which I don't like that anyway, because it has to hit too many markets and make too many people happy. Or it's going to be super low budget, where I don't really see it. This is, again, they always say, what's the movie that disappeared because of superheroes and essentially the changing industry? And it's that middle ground movie, that 50, 40, $60 million budget movie that's dead. And this is like I was doing some research the other day, and every movie I ever loved and have affinity for is in that realm. Like all the Lethal Weapons are in that realm. It's just that you have more money than Independence. You could play around, but not enough to do superhero. And this is that. So the setting, Tom Sizemore, the SWAT team, that's kind of shit that costs money. And we don't get it, man. I mean, and that's the funny thing is I don't think the Relic's an amazing movie. I think it's flawed, but we're in a time now where I almost finally look back on this flawed Chicago movie with reverence, because what do we have now?
Exactly.
This just wouldn't exist. And if it did, it would be all CGI. We wouldn't have Stan Winston doing a cool
monster. And it was a guy in a suit a lot of times. You know that, eh? The monster.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, refreshing.
Yeah, well, that's like a Jurassic Park thing, the guys in the Velociraptors. But I was going to say something real quick. So I just did a video the other day on End of Days, and I kind of put End of Days in a very similar feeling for me, where it's like I have a lot of issues, but I also have a little bit of heart for it. But I didn't know that Schwarzenegger, I'm going to tie this in, it's not just a rant. Schwarzenegger fought with Peter Hyams because he thought the movie was too dark. And I was like, I don't think it is. I think it's fun. And then I watched this movie, I'm like, oh, fuck, Peter Hyams, dude. Like, did you have one light? Was this a whole thing? And he was also the DP on this. I had no idea. I was watching the credits like, I mean, I know directors that the DPs in like independent flicks. I did not know a movie of this size would have the director also be the DP. I thought that never happened.
Well, I'm pretty sure Hyams started off as a DP. He started in the business.
Why is it so dark?
You mentioned End of Days. I just got to put this in there. I hear that title and it just reminds me of the scene with Gabriel Byrne and Arnold Schwarzenegger going tete-a-tete. And Schwarzenegger tells the devil, "You're a choir boy next to me. A choir boy."
You want to fuck with me? You think you know bad, huh? You're a fucking choir boy compared to me. A choir boy.
I mean, just that bit alone makes the entire movie worthy of a rewatch. Just saying.
When Gabriel Byrne first gets possessed by the devil, walks out of the bathroom, he's with his friend and his friend's wife. He grabs her tit, pulls it out, makes out with her, and then wins her over by black magic, and then just fucking struts out in his long cool jacket. It's cheesy, but it's cool. But
Gabriel Byrne was full pimp in that movie.
Yes.
But he's Satan, so.
But the darkness in that was a problem for Schwarzenegger. It was a weird thing to I didn't really ever pick up in that. But now look, in this movie, I'm like, this is the only problem that I had my whole life, even as a kid, where it's I didn't actually know what the monster looked like. It is so shadowed. You get glimpses, but there's actually never a true reveal of the monster. And it's
not fully, no.
No, and I do think for the work that Winston did, and you could see dolls and statues of it, that is something that I really wish came from above. It's like, hey, buddy, you need one shot of the monster. It doesn't have to be in sunlight, but for God's sakes, it can't be under like a lamp 48 meters back.
Yeah, no, I concur. I concur. And I just wanted to use that word. That's why I said that. Concur. But overall, the movie's engaging enough. Good acting. Great score by John Debney, who actually did
one of it, but it is a good score.
Yeah. That elevates the movie a little bit. He actually also did the score to The Passion of the Christ, which is one of my favorite scores. I don't know what else to say about this fucking movie, man.
Well, I love Linda Hunt. She's always been the principal, and I mean, I think we're different age groups, so this really depends on, I guess, how old were you when you saw it. But I was at the age where Kindergarten Cop was amazing as a kid.
Yeah.
She's that.
It still is. Yeah, it still is.
I wasn't sure because it's one of those things that I don't know if I was in my 20s would it mean as much to me. But I love that she's just this little 4-foot angry broad, and always just kind of sassy. Always has the glasses. I just want to give her a little shout out because I was like, good for her. Good for her. Yeah, and I mean, this is. Oh, and hold on, fucking Brooks from Shawshank is the charming old man in the wheelchair. I was thinking about him. Yeah, he should have been like the other scientist. I love Penelope Miller, but it just didn't fit, man. I think this is a great example of just that it's middle of the road, but when it pops, and it pops better than most things. No, it just didn't. I'm surprised it didn't have a sequel because I think it did. The reviews kind of sucked, but it did pretty good. It's like fucking this tribe in I don't know if it's Africa or where is it, but they're essentially making monsters like take care of enemies. Like that's a cool second movie, man. Let's head over there.
Actually, that's one thing we didn't mention. I thought the origin story of the monster, because it's revealed that it's actually the archaeologist, doctor, whatever the fuck he was. I thought it was very unique. I thought it was fairly unique. I didn't think it was, although it did bring to question, like, when did he mutate?
I assume on the boat, because
then he got off the boat and
went under the tunnel. Because remember, the guy's like, he goes, if at this port, if you take this all the way through the museum, because this goes away to Michigan Avenue, and I was like, does it? I'll believe you. Yeah, they supposedly got off the boat as a monster and then ran down the little tunnel and then got in the field museum.
Why did he go in the museum?
Because the movie, the movie had to happen.
Okay. Well, anyways, all that to say, the origin of the monster was unique, so I appreciated that. And it was a cool little reveal. The first time I saw it, I didn't see it coming that it was the dude that mutated. So, well played. I guess for me, the last thing I got to say, Asian asshole in the movie.
Oh, the guy that tries to get her grant?
Yeah. Who reminded me of the Asian asshole in Megan.
Megan?
Yeah.
Same
role, dude. Same role, man. And, and same, it evoked the same emotion from me. I wanted to reach into the screen and choke this little fucker. But I guess he did his job well because I hated him. And
it's supposed to be the slimy colleague that's like taking her work. Yeah.
So I guess that's it, dude. I mean, what about you guys and dolls? Have you seen The Relic? What do you think of The Relic? Do you love The Relic? Do you agree with Lance and I? I don't think this made for the most compelling show because it's a middle ground movie, and we're kind of like meh.
Yeah, but we don't know it's middle ground until after we watch it. I mean, this is I think the card you roll, because it's like, unless it's something and this is kind of why I was like doing this stuff, is like, there's movies I know what I feel. I know 100%. Tremors, I know how I feel about Tremors, and I'm about Jaws. But then there's movies like this where it's like, okay, I remember what I thought, but that shit changes so much. It depends on your mood. I'm older. What if I'm like, I don't know if I was bothered as much by Penelope Miller as a kid. I never found her engaging, but like as an adult, I'm like, man, it should have been Sizemore. I don't know if I would have comprehended that at the age of 10 or 12. So
I always felt the same about her. Yeah. From the first time I saw it on the big screen to now, I've always felt the same.
That's why we revisit, because who knows? I might have loved it, or I could have hated this too, because that first part was a lot slower than I remember, and I was like, oh man, this might be one of those movies where, like when I did a review on it like 6 years ago, I loved it, or I enjoyed it, and I'm like, oh, it's boring now, and that happens sometimes. So I'm like, never know where you stand. But no, I mean, I'm glad it exists. Tom Sizemore is great. He plays like that archetype that I love, the grumpy, annoyed cop who's going through divorce and hates his life. It's like a generic role, but he's the kind of guy that can play it. Him or like Michael Madsen. It's that same sort of just like
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff this guy did good. He'll always be Scagnetti to me. And hey, there are not a lot of movies filmed in Chicago, So I'll take a Field Museum monster movie just so we have something.
Yeah. So yeah, to go back to where I was before, what'd you guys think of the movie? You agree with Lance and I that it's fairly middle of the road, but yet we show it some love because it's a monster movie, an old-fashioned monster movie that we don't really see anymore. Chomp the comments below. Yes, I just said chomp. And yeah, let's talk the Relic.
Oh, man. Well, this disgusting thing is gone. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. I'm sure go back to the gas station for $1 and you'll get another one.
I know. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I would like try to get my life together buying these stupid things.
I know, bro. I know. I feel you, man. Well, look, cheers, Lancey boy. Cheers to all of you. Talk to you.